Hi everyone, my name is Marley and welcome to my channel, Marley's Videos. Today I'm going to be doing another tag because that's easy to do, so I'm just gonna do it. Today I'm going to be doing the TV show tag, so you can get to know a bit more about my taste in TV shows and I'll give you some recommendations throughout. First question is, what are your favorite TV shows? So one of my favorite TV shows of all time is The Vampire Diaries. I was completely obsessed with this while it was airing. I think it started when I was in grade 7. It was my whole life, like especially Damon and Elena's characters specifically and their relationship. I absolutely adored it and I would frequently rewatch their scenes over and over. That can sort of give you an idea of how much I loved it. This show is obviously about vampires, specifically one human girl and then 2 vampires who are brothers who end up coming into town, and of course they both end up falling in love with Elena, the main character, and a bunch of stuff goes down. I remember being very impressed with it. You know, Twilight was really big, so I just sort of thought it would be like a copycat of Twilight. And I remember being very impressed with how much it really stood alone, like on its own, and how many plot twists they were and how they would just kill off main characters. It was very exciting to watch. Another favorite show of mine that I've mentioned on my channel before is Merlin, which was a British show that followed like the Arthurian legends with Merlin the Magician and King Arthur. Again, I loved the relationship between the 2 of them, and it was my first like slash ship, like male ship. And yeah, it's great if you like them as romantic or if you like them as a friendship. It's really good. And then obviously there's like action and, you know, sword fighting and magic and all that fun stuff too. The next question is, what's your favorite genre? I think I like most genres of TV shows, but my favorite would be dramas, like scripted dramas, but I do like comedies as well. I'm just not as big of a fan of sitcoms as I know a lot of people are, like people who just rewatch The Office and Friends and How I Met Your Mother all the time. Like, I've seen a couple of sitcoms, How I Met Your Mother, I'm currently watching that 70s show. I just don't get quite as into them as most people. I do prefer like a drama. What is your least favorite TV show? I don't know about least favorite because like if I don't think I'll like it, I probably wouldn't watch it, but I know a show I used to watch was The Bachelor or Bachelorette series. I watched quite a few seasons and then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I grew to hate it. I thought it was so repetitive and boring, and you could just tell that it was very fake and set up by the producers, and I just no longer was into it. What is your most rewatched show? I actually don't get around to rewatching TV shows that often. I just feel like I have so many new shows I want to watch, especially with Netflix now. Like, they're so accessible and they're constantly having new shows coming out all the time. However, as I mentioned, I would rewatch The Vampire Diaries a lot, mostly just the Damon and Elena scenes. And a few years ago now, I was obsessed with a Norwegian show called Scam, and I was quite obsessed with that. The episodes and the seasons were very short, so I definitely rewatched that like a couple times. I would definitely recommend Scam if you can get your hands on it. It's sort of tricky finding ways to watch it with English subtitles, but if you can find a way, it was a really good show. Do you prefer watching things week by week or binge watching? I definitely prefer binging now that that's an option with streaming services. It used to be a little trickier. Like, I remember having to wait week to week for my favorite TV show was really annoying. However, I do still do that for a lot of shows, like shows that are just airing on a weekly basis, like shows like Survivor and Big Brother, obviously. What are some scripted shows? How to Get Away with Murder, which recently ended. This Is Us. Like, those network shows, I do continue to watch them on a weekly basis if that's how they come out, because I like to be caught up and I like to avoid spoilers, so I prefer to watch those types of shows that way. However, the shows that do come out, you know, a full season on Netflix, I definitely prefer that method. Who are your favorite television characters? Probably not a surprise, one of my favorite characters is Damon Salvatore from The Vampire Diaries. I think he's someone who had such great character development, is very good looking, and very funny. So it's pretty much everything that you need in a favorite character. Next question is, what are your favorite television OTPs? I have tons. But my number one would be Damon and Elena from Vampire Diaries. As I've already mentioned, they have a really great friendship, really good chemistry, and development over all of the seasons. Another one of mine would be Pacey and Joey from Dawson's Creek. A bit of an older show, but they have a similar story as Damon and Elena, as they started out disliking each other, just sort of hanging out because they were both mutual friends with Dawson, and then they grow to be friends themselves and really be there for each other, and then eventually they fall in love. And again, really good chemistry. I think the actors dated in real life. I think that's a big thing that affects the chemistry on screen, is if the actors date, and I think they did. Another favorite ship of mine is Brian and Justin from Queer as Folk. This was, I think, one of the first shows that really explored gay characters on TV and like showed stuff, you know. I think it was the first like gay sex scene on TV. So Brian and Justin are the main characters in that show, and I remember when watching it, I watched the show a couple times, they just really got to me. I really was a fan of their relationship. Even though, looking back, Brian is like 10 years older than him, or maybe even more, and I'm not a big fan of that actually. It's sort of creepy. So maybe if I watched it now, I wouldn't like it as much. But again, the characters had a really good story. What is a show that you could never get into? That would be The Office, which everyone loves. I never tried super hard to get into it, but I did try to watch it once, and I got to like mid-season 2, and I just don't really feel like I want to continue that much. I'm just not really into that type of humor, I guess. What's a show you fell out of love with? For me, that would probably be Supernatural. I remember being so obsessed with it at first. I would rent the DVDs from Blockbuster and I would just binge them, and I loved it. And I think I only got to season 6. I think I'm on season 6 or 7, and I just started not being as interested in it. A part of me sort of wants to go back and keep watching it, but it's not really a big priority for me. What's a show that was canceled too soon? I've experienced quite a few shows get canceled on me. I feel like it happens a lot where networks just like give up on shows before they really get a chance. But the biggest disappointment for me would be The Tomorrow People on CW. This aired, I think, during one of my last years of high school, and I was so obsessed with it. I would make fan videos and I would tweet with the cast and with the writers, and I just got so into the show that it really was a shame when it got canceled. What is your guilty pleasure show? For me, I think it would be reality shows. I don't watch a lot. As I mentioned, I didn't really like Bachelor, Bachelorette, which so many people love. The ones I do like are Survivor and Big Brother and Amazing Race, more of the game show ones. And then also Jersey Shore, Floribama Shore, Love is Blind are some of the other ones that I am guilty. I enjoy. Next question is, what are you currently watching? Right now, I'm watching a few shows by myself. I'm watching Black Lightning on CW. It's the only DC superhero show on CW that I haven't watched yet. So watching that, it's pretty good. I mostly am just interested in the character Anissa, but I'm sure as the show goes on, like the cast will grow on me more. And then with my boyfriend, I'm watching that 70s show. We're on the last season, and man, has it really gone downhill. Like, once Topher Grace left and I think their writers changed, it's just not as good. And then we are also watching Stargirl, which is another superhero show on CW, which is actually very good. I got really into it the last couple episodes. It's been good. It's about the superhero Stargirl, obviously, and she's the first teenage superhero that we've had so far in this sort of world that the CW and Greg Berlanti have created on their network. So it's been very fun. I would recommend it. What was the most disappointing TV show ending? I would say it was How I Met Your Mother for me, which I don't even like to talk about, honestly. I was a big fan of the mother storyline, like throughout the whole series. I mean, I guess everyone probably was, but I was really into it. Like, I was like so excited to see who the mother was. I was like so ready, and then we meet her, and I like loved her, and I loved her and Ted. And then, if you guys know, then you know, some stuff happened, and it was really upsetting for me. I just felt like the whole last season was building up to Barney and Robin getting married and being together, and then what was the point? Anyways, I don't want to get into it too much, but that would be the most disappointing ending for me. What is a scene that made you cry like a baby? Again, so many options for this, but I would say normally season or series finales really make me cry. In particular, the Merlin series finale. Again, it's hard to like, I don't want to spoil, but there was a major character death, and it was just like tears the whole episode as he's like slowly dying. Similarly, Dawson's Creek had something like that. A main character died, and it's just like so upsetting. Like, series finales should be happy. It should be like everyone's happy ending, although I do like bittersweet endings, but not always. So I would think about rewatching Merlin for sure, but I don't know if I would want to rewatch the finale, honestly. So that wraps up the TV tag. Hopefully you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts on some TV shows, my unpopular opinions, popular opinions, recommendations. Basically, I would say watch Stargirl and watch Vampire Diaries if you never did. You can watch it on Netflix. Hopefully you will subscribe. Let me know what TV show you would recommend to me based on my tastes. And I'll see you in a new video. Thanks, guys.